Internet headlines. The Foreign Ministry labels a Wall Street Journal editorial on Article 23 as alarmist and utter nonsense. US tech giant Apple is accused of limiting competition and consumer choice in the smartphone sector. And protests erupt in New Delhi after an anti-corruption opposition leader is arrested. On the eve of the implementation of the Article 23 domestic national security law, the Foreign Ministry office in Hong Kong denounced the Wall Street Journal over an editorial. In a letter to the U.S. newspaper, the office described the article as utter nonsense and alarmist. The editorial claimed that Article 23 legislation has made it dangerous for lawyers and journalists. But the office dismissed the allegation, stressing that the legislation is necessary to prevent potential harm to China. Chambers of commerce, such as those representing Malaysia and Singapore, have supported the new law, which was unanimously approved by legislators earlier this week. Executive Councillor Jeffrey Lam, who's also the Legislative Council representative in the Hong Kong General Chamber of Commerce, agreed that foreign investors need more clarification. Lam said locals have to explain to foreigners why Article 23 is important for the city. Janice Yu, Cable News. Pedestrians in Kwai Chung were horrified when they saw a knife-wielding man screaming and swearing near a bus stop at around 11 a.m. This witness, who alerted police, said he went to get lunch when he saw the man shouting hysterically on Wo Yi Hop Road. I followed him all the way to my office, he said. After I got back, he was still swearing at a bus stop with the knife in his hand, so I called police. Police arrested the 33-year-old man, who is believed to be mentally ill, for possession of a dangerous weapon. An 18-centimeter-long kitchen knife was seized. The man was sent to Princess Margaret Hospital after claiming that he felt unwell. Senior executives of Cathay Pacific have appeared before lawmakers to apologize and explain the fiasco in December and January when almost 800 flights were cancelled. Ronald Lam, chief executive of Hong Kong's flag carrier, admitted that they had underestimated the number of standby pilots needed. Christmas and Lunar New Year holiday plans for many were disrupted when the airline was unable to replace pilots who came down with the flu. Chief Operations Officer Alex McGowan said most pilots did not know that they had exceeded the annual flight limit of 900 hours. He said the airline has taken steps to ensure that there is sufficient manpower at all times.
Our Airbus wide-body pilots had flown so much during the summer peak while we were retraining our Boeing 777 pilots. The system doesn't contain the necessary software to draw attention to pilots that are approaching that 900-hour limit. And we've now rectified that and put processes in place to ensure that those are highlighted.
Police suspect that a taxi driver who was killed in a collision in Happy Valley had fainted and lost control of his vehicle. The taxi was traveling along Toy Man Street at around noon when it crashed into a car. Firefighters rescued the 60-year-old taxi driver who was trapped in his vehicle. He was unconscious when he was sent to Rutenji Hospital, where he was certified dead later. The driver of the car was also injured and taken to the same hospital. Three women working in two beauty parlors have been arrested on suspicion of using fake machines. Customs officers, posing as clients, visited the establishments in Shek Mun and Kwun Tong. They were offered beauty treatment using equipment which had no trademarks. The suspected fake machines were confiscated, and 3 workers aged 36 to 40 were taken away. The Customs Department said counterfeit equipment could hurt clients and suggested that they choose well-established beauty parlors.
The U.S. Justice Department is dragging tech giant Apple to court, accusing the iPhone maker of creating a monopoly and stifling competition. The lawsuit stated that Apple products are mostly compatible only with technology developed by the company and do not blend with software and hardware made by rival firms. Apple was accused of keeping most apps exclusive to iPhone users and prohibiting app developers from making similar products for other tech companies. Regulators also highlighted the Silicon Valley-based firm's grip in the e-payment sector with Apple Pay.
Monopolies like Apple's threaten the free and fair markets upon which our economy is based. They stifle innovation. They hurt producers and workers, and they increase costs for consumers. If left unchallenged, Apple will only continue to strengthen its smartphone monopoly.
The tech giant denied the accusations and vowed to challenge them in court. Apple shares slumped over 4% on Wall Street overnight, raising $113 billion of the firm's value. The allegations did not dampen the spirits of Apple chief executive Tim Cook, who was in Shanghai to open the firm's second-largest flagship store after the one in New York City. Sachin Katwi, Cable News.
As hunger worsens in Gaza, the World Health Organization is worried about the condition of Palestinian children.
Children are dying from the combined effects of malnutrition and disease and lack of adequate water and sanitation. The future of an entire generation is in serious peril. In particular, malnourished children need ready-to-use therapeutic food that's targeted at their needs. There are some supplies of this type of food in Gaza, but it cannot be distributed safely to where it's needed.
Israel continued to bombard Gaza as it tries to smash Hamas. So far, over 32,000 Palestinians have been killed. Israel said hundreds of Hamas members were arrested in raids on Al-Shifa hospital in Gaza City. But Hamas accused Israel of lying, saying those detained were medics and people sheltering in the hospital.
Protesters have taken to the streets of New Delhi following the arrest of Arvind Kejriwal, the chief minister of the Indian capital. Kejriwal, who is known for his anti-corruption campaigns, was accused of accepting $12 million to grant liquor contracts 2 years ago. He has denied the allegations, which his Common People's Party said were politically motivated. 2 other senior leaders of the party were arrested last year for their alleged involvement in the case. Opposition politicians say Kejriwal's arrest is a part of a crackdown by Prime Minister Narendra Modi before next month's national elections. Modi's party denied misusing government agencies to settle political scores.
Gang violence has escalated in the Caribbean nation of Haiti despite the resignation of the unelected prime minister. Police have been unable to protect civilians attacked by thugs. At the same time, food is running out for people who fled their homes.
There's a real sense of terror. I notice among people, particularly those who obviously that have had to flee, again and again and again. There is a very, very great fatigue. There is a human suffering of an alarming scale, in fact. A lot of fear, trauma. People are just simply tired. The gangs continue to systematically use sexual violence. They do it to have control, but also revenge. It's horrific reports of collective rape on women and girls. They use torture.
Hong Kong stocks retreated today, wiping out all the gains from yesterday when the market cheered signs of a possible US interest rate cut. Investors held back on disappointing corporate earnings. CK Asset Holdings slumped 10.7% after reporting lower profits for last year. Ping An Insurance plunged 5.8% as earnings in 2023 turned out to be the lowest in 5 years. The Hang Seng Index closed 2.2% lower.